Hi everybody. Okay, Miss Bainin here, and I am just going to share with you how do we make an equivalent fraction. So, equivalent fractions, another name for equal fractions. And equal fractions just mean they're showing the same amount, it just may be in different numbers. So, for example, we could have 2/4. And what is that another example of? Well, if we multiply by whatever number over the same number, which is another example for one whole, so let's say 3/3. If I multiply by 3/3, I'm going to show another equal fraction to 2/4. And remember, whatever I do to the bottom number, I always have to do the top and vice versa. So whatever I do to the top, I have to do the bottom. So something equivalent to 2/4 is 2 times 3 is 6, and 4 times 3 is 12. So I could say 2/4 is equal to 6/12. All right. I can go up and I can go down. So let's say I had, how about 20, 30 seconds. That's how I would say 32. 20, 30 seconds. I could say that's equal to, and I can do, let's see, let's go down. So 20, let's just divide by 2. And if I divide the top by 2, I'm going to divide the bottom by 2. Well, 20 divided by 2 is 10, because 10 times 2 is 20. And 32 divided by 2 is 16. So one example of an equivalent fraction for 20, 30 seconds is 10/16. But let's do another. If I did, instead of 20 again, I can put 10/16 and say it's equal to, and divide by 2 again, and then divide by 2 on the bottom again. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. Well, remember when I said at another video that the 5 is a prime number and 8, so since, and 8's composite, but it doesn't matter because this is lowest terms. So I could say that 5/8 is the same as 10/16. I could even say that 20, 30 seconds equals 5/8. You know why? To tell if a number is equivalent, a fraction is equivalent to another fraction, if I can do the same function on top as I do to the bottom, or same operation, because we know our operations is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. If I can do that, then I know I've done it and it's an equal or equivalent fraction. So 20, 30 seconds. 20 divided by what gives me 5? And I know it's divided because I'm going down. And in fractions, you can only either multiply or divide. If you multiply, it'll increase or get bigger. And if you divide, it's going to decrease or get smaller. So let's divide by 4, because 5 times 4 is 20, because remember, the opposite way would just be the opposite function, and the opposite of division is multiplication. So I could always go backwards and say 5 times 4 equals 20. Now remember, we said that it had to be the same amount on top and bottom. Whatever we did to the top, we had to do the bottom. Well, 32 divided by 4, that's doable, so it gives me 8. So that means that 20, 30 seconds is the same as 10/16 and 5/8. All right, here's another little thing about equivalent. So let's continue. Let's look at some that, and we'll have to decide whether or not they're equivalent fractions. So let's say 1/3 and 3/9. Are those equivalent fractions? Well, let's find out. Well, I know in order to get from 1 to 3, and remember it has to be multiplication or division, and it's going up, so it's multiplication. 1 times 3 equals 3, and 3, then I have to do the same. 3 times 3 is 9. Oh, yes, they both work, so therefore this is equivalent to this, or equal. Equivalent is another name for the word equal. Let's do another. What if we had 1/2 is equal to 2/8? Well, let's see. How do I get from 1 to 2? I multiply times 2. I have to do that to the bottom. So 1 times 2 is 2. Yep, that works. 2 times 2. Oh, whoa, that's not 8. It's supposed to be 4. So, nope, this is not in lowest terms. So I'm going to have to put a little X and say 1/2 is not equivalent or equal to 2/8. And remember, in math, you can always say something's not equal by putting an equal sign and then that not slash. It's not something. Okay, what about, let's do 3/4 and 12ths. Well, what if I have this and they say, what's an equivalent fraction to 3/4 in 12ths? Well, now I just have to figure out how do I get from 4 to 12. That's times 3, and then I'll do it to the top number. 3 times 3 is 9, so now I know what the equivalent fraction is. 3/4 and 9/12 are identical. Okay, I think that covers most of equivalent fractions. We want equivalent fractions if we are wanting to know another way to show it. Okay? All right. Have a great day, everybody.